So if you're wondering what I'm doing and what I'm building, I am in the process of trying to use these boards here to make a snow edge for the bottom of my bucket. Now there's a company that actually makes a device that actually attaches to your bucket. However, they are out of stock and I need something for this winter. So I'm going to fabricate something that mimics this particular device. Now, the reason that these devices sell so well is because you can use your bucket and use the wood to scrape your driveway to get the snow off. We're expecting some heavy snows this winter, so this is going to come in handy for me this year. So I'm going to probably order one next year, but if this works correctly, I may not even buy one. So I'm going to use these 2x8 pieces of wood to basically sandwich in between the edge of my bucket here, or I should say the edge of my bucket right here. And this is going to be a little challenging because my bucket has a little bit of a bow in it. What I'm going to do here is I bought these 4 bolts. I'm going to drill a hole through the board and then tighten the nut down through the top board that will be inside the bucket here. And you'll see it as I do it. But I'm going to have to recess these bolts up into the wood far enough. I'm going to have to make sure I recess the bottom of the bolt far enough up into the wood so it does not damage the concrete, or in some people's case, asphalt. So I don't want the screw sticking out at the bottom so it can scrape on the ground. So I want to make sure I recess this up far enough to where it will actually hold the wood. So I need to cut one more piece down like this because I want to double up this wood and then recess it enough up through both pieces of wood. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. So these two right here, well, this one right here will be on the inside. I'm going to have 2 of these on the bottom, and I'm going to recess this up. I'm going to recess this up far enough into the wood so that I have enough sticking through so that when I put the top board on, which will be this one, I can tighten the nut down and it will pinch between the bottom side of the bucket and the top side of the bucket. So what I'm hoping is, even with the bow in my bucket, I can get enough leverage where it'll kind of pull it up and tighten it once I tighten these bolts. This will go on the inside, as you can see here. It fits right inside the bucket, but I want to give myself enough edge so that my bolts can kind of come up almost through the middle. So I have enough inside the bucket and then enough sticking out. So when I stick the bolts through the bottom, this is just to give you an idea. So when I put the bolts through, it will squeeze the bucket and keep the wood on there. And then I can use this wood edge to push my snow without tearing up my driveway. So in looking at these 2 boards, I think I want the thicker board on the bottom, so I'm going to put this one on top. So the first thing I have to do thinking about raising my bucket up so I don't make it so difficult working on it. Take off the nuts and the washers, and I won't need those yet. As you can see, this is it's a little bit bigger than the bolt, not by much. So I'm going to use this bit here. This is a 11/16. So the first thing I'm going to do is I kind of got my, I want to get this lined up basically where I'm going to want my holes at. I didn't realize how bent this bucket really was. I got to get that straightened up at some point. We'll just buy a different bucket. But anyway. All right, so if you're still wondering, once I get these holes drilled, this is going to go on the bottom, and then there's going to be the other wood that's going to go on top. So. Okay, that one's good. Now what I'm going to do is, so I don't lose my hole markings, I'm going to stick a bolt down in there to keep it from moving, so that I kind of keep it in the right spot. Now remember, this is going to be under here. This is going to be the board where I actually scrape the snow. So, but as you can see, this is probably sticking through about that much. So once I recess it about halfway, or I should say recess it about halfway through the bottom, I'll be able to get enough to grab the screw, so I don't want it to come too far. So let's see how much we got, because I definitely want to. So once this comes up, now remember, this is going to be on the bottom. This is going to be my blade to scrape the snow, and this is going to be my piece of wood that sits inside the bucket that I'm going to squeeze these bolts together to hold it onto the edge of this bucket. And like I said earlier, the biggest challenge is going to be this bow. So I'm hoping as I go to tighten these screws, it will draw it closer together. Fingers crossed. So as you can see, if I recess this up, okay, so that's about where my recess needs to be, right about there on that board. So, get your kid. So let's get it in this. Whatever. We are good. So now that we have this, I know how deep I need to go. So once I drill that in, I get the bottom of the bolt right where that line is. I got just enough of my threads in the washer to where I can hold that down. I'm going to put on the 15/16 bit to make it a little bit wider, especially at the top where the nut. I want to make it wider at the bottom because that's where I'm going to recess the bolt. And hopefully this one went far enough. Yes, perfect. So now I can finish drilling the last hole. surprisingly, it actually went all the way through. At least the first one did. But the tricky part is you don't want to go too deep, as you can see there. I definitely want to go a little bit deeper. Yeah, that's good. This one is not deep enough. Yep. One thing I'm probably going to do, I don't know if I have any washers small enough, but it'd be nice to have a washer to kind of sit in there on that little lip. But now my bolts fit deep enough to where I can do what it is I want to do. I'm going to see if I have some washers that I might be able to use. Just enough. So I only have a few of these washers. I wasn't anticipating this, these small ones. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to put one on each end. So what this allows me to do is to put this here, and then when I set that bolt down in there, get the washer to recess just a little bit so that it's snug in there. Just a little bit wider. You do walk and not put it down. What is it? All right, I got lot of times you have to improvise. That's in there. I'm gonna knock this last one in. I can find what I did with the bolt. All right, so now we got 3 that are got a recess, as you can see. So now what I got to do, take these out. Because this is going to be on the bottom here. Okay, so now it's just getting these bolts through here. Actually, I'm going to do the ones on the ends first. It's a little challenging. This is kind of heavy. Up. And just keep moving down the line. It gives me enough room. Take the bucket somewhere and have it straightened out and then fabricate this thing. If my bucket was straight, this would have went right on, but there is a bow in the bucket that's causing this problem right now. So right now I'm doing this because I want to draw the bolt or the nut deeper into the wood so it gives me a little bit more room to work with. If I can get this about another inch down in there, I might be able to spread it far enough I can get it over that lip. What I'm hoping is once I do this that the board doesn't snap. gonna do now is I'm gonna try to tighten this. In a perfect world, I probably should take the bucket and get it straightened. I really don't want to do that, but right now I'm trying to weighing it. So I think if I can get the bolts tight enough, and I may even get some longer bolts for the middle because of the bow, might be able to make this work, at least to get me through the next season and till I get my bucket straight. Because I don't think, after seeing this contraption, I don't think I need to go out and purchase, you know, a device for 400 bucks when I can make one that'll do the same thing. My main thing is something that can push the snow without tearing up the concrete driveway. Wood would do just that. Now, over time, the wood will grind down, but it's not going to damage the driveway, and it's going to solve my purpose. So hopefully this was a little helpful for you, at least to give you an idea. And again, I know it's probably not the most conventional way to do something like this, but hey, if it works, it works. So I'm getting ready to put this back in the barn, but I wanted to show you here on the side. Now, did it take out all of the bow? You can kind of see a little bit between the crack there. There's still a bow in the thing. But I'm telling you, I got those 4 bolts on there. This thing ain't going nowhere. So I think as long as this older wood holds up, I think I should be in good shape to be able to push my snow with the front edge of this blade. So how this is going to work is once I get my bucket down, I'm going to tilt it. Let me just show you real quick. This is just the scraps I had left over. Let's start the tractor up. Right now it's a little uneven because I have it sitting on this. Let me lift this up. There you go. If you look at the front, there's hardly any gap at all. And this will push any snow off the driveway. So here's the problem I have. This is why I'm doing this. So if you look at the driveway, I have concrete up here. There's probably a, I don't know, 30 degree, 15 degree slope, but it's enough to where when I'm trying to back up with rear wheel drive trucks, I start sliding. So when it snows, I gotta get the snow off the driveway. So I was gonna look at a snow blower or doing something like that. And I started researching. I'm like, I got a tractor. You know, I didn't want to buy an expensive attachment, but hey, with some scrap wood, the only thing I bought was those bolts and the nuts and the washers. And I think it's going to look amazing. It's going to work amazing. So anyway, make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. Appreciate it. Love you guys.